The topic of jobs, the global outsourcing industry is worth $250 billion or 1 trillion pesos. An agency created an index identifying the best and most reliable companies in the market. We speak now with Outsource Accelerator founder and CEO, Derek Gallimore, right here on The Final Word. Derek, thank you so much for joining us on the program. You have two major indices, the Global Outsourcing Firm Index and the OA500 Index. Why did you come up with these indices?
Yeah, Rico, as you mentioned, the industry is massive. It's 250 billion US globally, and it's about 25 billion in the Philippines with a high growth rate, but it is notoriously difficult to navigate and is completely opaque because the vast majority of these businesses are private and they cross multiple countries. So it's very difficult to compare and navigate the outsourcing market. So we set about creating an objective index so that people can navigate and orientate and compare the market.
How do you assess the complexities of all of these outsourcing companies? Because you have a vast array, Derek, of specializations in the outsourcing industry.
It's enormously difficult, actually. It took us about 18 months to generate the methodology. We have to use publicly available data points and multiple data points, but they're only valid if the data points are relevant to the vast majority of the index. So we managed to get about 18 metadata points, which meant that we could compare like for like across a broad spectrum of about 2,500 firms. In terms of comparing subjective analysis, it is very, very difficult, though, such as verticals, quality, and specifics like that.
But how can you ensure, especially to clients who want to hire an outsourcing company, that your research, your methodology is rigorous, independent, and is also fair?
Yeah, look, we use external public data points, and so they are completely objective. We don't actually put any judgment onto that. We just really aggregate them. However, it is the only objective measure of outsourcing firms globally. There is no other way that these firms can actually be observed in aggregate.
And how would you suggest that companies use this data? Should they only look at the index of the top 500 outsourcing companies, or the other index, which is made up of more than 2,000 companies?
Yeah, so with this methodology, we're able to actually index every single BPO firm and rank them from number 1 to number 3,000, which is pretty powerful. The top 500, of course, have more granularity, so we're able to do slightly more analysis of those. People that can use it is anyone from within the industry, all of the industry participants, but also prospects, clients, enterprises that want to better understand the industry and the players within the industry.
If a company A, company B, company C, let's say they want to speak with you, Derek, we want to consult and get the recommendation of Outsource Accelerator. Will you give them that service, or do you just present to them these indices and they decide which companies they want to deal with?
Yeah, so we're the dominant marketplace representing this $250 billion industry. We generate about 250,000 visitors to the website each month. We generate about $100 million worth of inbound inquiries into the industry. And we are relatively high volume, low touch. So we don't necessarily do consultancy, bespoke sort of tailored measurements, but what we do is we provide people a marketplace for which they can explore and navigate the market, and we add these tools such as the Time Doctor OA500 to help them sort of assess and analyze the market.
Let's take a look at the local BPO industry. It's one of the more dominant players in the Asia-Pacific region. What is the future like for the outsourcing industry in the Philippines?
The future is so bright, Rico. It is phenomenal. So at the moment, it's about 25 billion in US dollar revenues, and that is only just the beginning. Years ago, they were saying it is a sunset industry, but actually I predict that there are about another 40 million jobs that are yet to come over. With all of this move towards remote work, work from home, and global employment, really reaching into the SME market, there is an explosion about to happen of about another 40 million jobs worth about another 600 billion US per year. All of that is coming towards the Philippines.
Huge potential upside in terms of job generations for Filipinos in the outsourcing sector, which could boost the Philippine economy going forward. But of course, there are also some question marks, Derek, about the outsourcing sector here in the country, because there's some rules from the government, PESA, BOI, that are now requiring Filipinos who are working from home to go back now to full face-to-face office work. And a lot of these call center agents or these call center employees don't want to go back. How could that be a problem for the Philippines going forward?
Look, the whole world is trying to wrestle with this new work from home paradigm and the nature of the future of work. People don't really know how all of this is going to play out. I think the Philippines is trying its hardest. They are basing it on historic regulation and what is there, whereas I think we have to look forward to what is coming, and that is very difficult for everyone, but I think we're all trying our best to work through that.
Yeah, indeed, the regulations is something that many outsourcing companies have to wrestle with here, because I was talking to some BPO companies, because they are also having a difficult time bringing back their employees back to the offices. So some of them are even tinkering with the idea of moving their operations to another country and hiring Filipinos here to be their call center agents in a work from home setup.
Yeah.
So could that eventually be a problem for the country?
I think if you try and enforce something that is not popular, then there's going to be a lot of leakage. There's going to be people trying to get around the regulations to suit the market. People don't necessarily have control over their destiny. The companies, the BPOs, are really at the mercy of the workforce. And the workforce have to be engaged and be in an environment that they are comfortable with. And if the majority of them are saying remote, then it's very difficult to resist that. So it's still work in progress.
You're very optimistic about the future of the outsourcing sector, but there are some analysts who are saying that we may be facing a global recession. And a lot of the clients of outsourcing companies here in the Philippines are in the United States and in first world countries. Could this be a problem?
Luckily, to some degree, the outsourcing industry is counter-cyclical.
Okay.
So when the West is needing to cut costs, then of course offshoring and global employment, where the cost of employment is generally lower, is a really enticing opportunity. So we are seeing a massive ramp up, and it's consistent with the recession and of course this move towards remote work from home and global employment.
Derek, thank you so much for your perspective on the global outsourcing sector and for joining us on The Final Word.
Thanks, Rico.
Outsource Accelerator founder and CEO, Derek Gallimore.